Oh, there's the title.
All right, guys, we are back live for another episode. Every Monday we do this, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we got a great panel tonight. We got Ron Harris. Welcome back, Ron.
Thanks for
Get
having me.
Lee Priest. Welcome back again to the show, and my man Phil Klahar back on the panel again. Lots to talk about tonight, guys. Jesus, it's there's a comment that said the drama in bodybuilding during 2024 has been off the chart. It's like, yeah, it's been crazy. There's so much for us to talk about. So it makes it easy for me, for the rest of us. So I guess let's start with the coaching debacle that has transpired today with Matt Jansen. First, we had obviously Quinton coming out yesterday saying that, he's done with Matt Jansen. He was very vocal about it. He didn't hold back on his assessment of his coaching style. Then you had Nick Walker today saying he's out, and Shaun Clarida and Brett Wilkin, all today. So Lee, I know Lee has a lot to say. So first, Lee, I want Lee to kind of set the tone and then give us his take.
Matt's dog also dug a hole under the fence and
His dog left him too. So yeah, Lee, give us your take on coaches.
I don't know. I'm from the old school where I think might have only been Chad and Chris maybe back in the day were the main ones, but even before then, no one really had them. It's like, to me, it's like, yes, if you're the average person, I can understand coaches and coaching, but when you get to a certain level, some of these guys, I've said it like jokingly that Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman, my grandmother could get them ready. My grandmother's been around dieting. She could write Ronnie a diet, and with his genetics, you'd get in shape and stuff like that. So, I think these people come along. Nothing against Harney. He wanted to help me once, and I showed him my diet. He said, no, stick to that. Stick to the training. All Harney did was give me a list of more drugs to take. And I said, I'm not doing it. And when I mentioned that in an interview, I think Ron did the interview once. You can't say that in the magazine. I'm like, right. Well, they asked me, how did Harney help you? I said, well, he didn't. But the only difference was he wanted to give me more drugs. And he got mad at me for saying that. I'm like, but that was the truth. So I just think that I've always been the believer, if you have a good support team, a good training partner, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, it gives you real feedback and have the support group, you can do it because we've been doing it long enough. We know how to diet. You eat clean food, you do cardio, you take your supplements, you get in shape, you want to get big. Someone asked me today, Lee, how should I bulk up? I'm like, go fucking eat. Bulking up's the easy part, depending on how much fat you want to put on, depending on how much food you want to shove in. But contest time, it's like, how you got to look on stage. If you're looking too smooth, cut your carbs back, because I've always found I've seen people go to a coach and no one knows you better than you. So you go to the coach, he's going to be like, what foods do you like? What don't you like? How are you carb sensitive, this or that? What drugs work best for you? And he's only going to guess in the beginning. He's going to say, eat this, take this, and do that. In a couple of weeks, how you feeling? Okay, take this out, add this. You can do that yourself. But I know that's the good thing. When Paul lived with me, I said to him once, I said, Paul, you know what to do. He's like, yeah, I know. I said, so why do you have Chad? And I remember I was getting ready for lunch. And I said, I don't know, should I have chicken or steak and that? And Paul's like, see, I walk over to the fridge and Chad says, I have to have steak and that. So I'm just lazy. I like when Chad writes it out. So at least he was honest about it. I think some guys just want to take that off themselves. They don't want to think about certain things. But I always just found if I did it myself, I got no one else to blame but myself. So there's no, it's just like, I remember Hardy when he used to train with me and my friend Kurt Miller when he was nobody. Then he became the pro creator, but yet I don't know if he's still taking anyone from this level to win a big pro show who was a nobody. It's like when you got the people with the world's best genetics, like I said, it's quite easy to win shows when you train them and tell them what to do and stuff. And I still laugh at his videos though when he's training people and he's like, squeeze here. And he's like, I think Hardy knows how to squeeze his back, Hardy. And he's teaching him how to pose and he's doing this and Hardy's beside him, point to do it. I'm like,
yeah,
Hardy knows how to pose. Come on. It's like,
that's true.
If that's what they like, if that's what people need, all the more to it. But I've always just found
real quick, Lee, did you win? You won the San Francisco Pro when you were working with Hani, though. Am I right?
I never worked with Hani.
Oh, you never worked with Hani?
No, he wanted to work with me. Then he showed me that when he said do the same dieting, do the cardio. He goes, how much cardio are you doing? I said 2 to 3 hours. And then I noticed when he got clients, he started giving Jay and them 2 hours of cardio and stuff like that. So I only took on my ideas. I'm going to say that. There you
Phil,
go.
since you're the only other pro here, and you have a coach, what's your thought process on this? Do you feel you would have been as successful with your career without a coach, or if you did it on your own?
Well, listen, at the end of the day, man, anybody can, if you know your body, you can coach yourself, but it comes down to the last few weeks. You got to have somebody. If it's not a coach, it has to be a significant other, wife, friend, training partner, something. But I do think coaches now, I mean, back in the day when I started, I coached myself. Of course I did in the beginning as an NPC competitor. And then when I came up here, Tim Gardner was my first coach in 2008. Actually, I was part of a team. It was Team Body Tech. Coaches are valuable, man, especially when you're dealing with the mental aspect of bodybuilding and when you're depleted and, have no carbs, no sugar, no nothing, and you're not thinking straight. That's when coaching yourself could run into a issue. Now, back in the day, that may have been different, which was excellent bodies back then. Lee Priest, Jay Cutler, all these guys. But at the end of the day, man, I think you do need them. Now, the thing is, I said this in a couple podcasts here as well as a couple other ones. At the end of the day, man, we're all adults and we're all bodybuilders. So you can never, ever, ever give a coach the full blame. I don't believe in that philosophy. So I'm not upon agreement with the complete testimony of Quinton. I love him to death, but you can't give no coach full reign. We're all adults. As pro bodybuilders, we're to research certain things if we do not understand what the coach has given us. But we can still say, hey, listen, we're doing 2 hours of cardio. I don't think that's really necessary as we get deep into the show. If you look at my weeks, my competition pictures last year, which that's what I like about Blue. We compare pictures. Even when I came from another coach, we compare pictures in each prep. That's how it's done. So bodybuilders can speak up. I'm sorry, I don't want to hear you giving a coach or you're trusting or you're fully confident in a coach. They're human, so they can make mistakes. Me as a bodybuilder, that's why listen, you want to pick a top coach. I don't think you have to pick a top level coach. I don't think that's necessary. You just need somebody that's very well educated. So you got to go through the interview process in the beginning to get to know them, see where they're at. If you guys meet, that was his first time working with Quinton. So at the end of the day, I think he just dropped the bomb this year. That's just how it is. Nobody was saying anything the prior years with Matt Jansen. I don't know him. I never met him. I've seen him, but we're all human, man. But I do think coaches are necessary. Me and Blue got a bond. Like yesterday, we were talking, and we just have a bond. And we speak. He'll say, "Phil, how do you feel about this?" And then I will give him my. He never just says, the best athletes are the ones that just listen and keep your mouth shut. No, that's not the case. But you do need a coach, I think, when it gets into the last, the difficult weeks.
Ron, what's your take on the coaching situation?
I think some people need coaches and some people don't. I didn't turn pro, but I competed 24 years, and I know exactly what he's talking about. It's very difficult for a lot of people to be objective toward the very end when you're fatigued and you're really low on carbs and calories and you're doing all this cardio and you're having trouble sleeping. It's hard to look in the mirror and not go to the extreme one way or the other, undercorrect or overcorrect. Either you're going to see yourself as, oh no, I'm too flat, I'm too stringy, I need to eat more, and you shouldn't be eating more, or the opposite, where you'll end up, doing hours and hours of cardio and going zero carbs for weeks and weeks. But a good coach will talk you down from the ledge before you do anything stupid. Obviously, at the pro level where there's money at stake and sponsorships, things like that, it is more critical. And I think especially for beginners, it's good for a beginner to have someone guide through that process. But there were plenty of guys like Lee, like Dorian, Lee Haney, Shaun Ray. Many, many, many guys over the years have done it without a coach, and they've done a fantastic job on their own.
Yeah. Excuse me. I agree. Oh, go ahead.
I agree with that last part. Yeah, I found the last couple of weeks is all mental because there's been shows. It's almost like an anorexic looks in the mirror and sees their fat. I remember getting ready for shows, people saying how good I looked, and I'll be at World Gym. There's a video of me outside on World Gym early one morning. Got like black Superman shorts on, and I was filming with Mitch. He's like, Lee, take your shirt off so we can have your tank top. I'm like, okay. I thought I looked good, and I looked in the mirror. I'm just like, oh shit. And the whole workout, I was so pissed off looking at myself in the mirror. But when I watched that video today, I'm like, fuck, I look good. But in that frame of mind, I was like, but Kathy was with me. Kathy's like, no, Lee, you look great. Stop fucking thinking that way and stuff like that. So, you know, if you got someone like Phil said, you got the significant other, someone to keep you on track, because I never did peak weeks either, because I think the lowest I ever went on carbs was 250 grams a day. And I always did my photo shoots before the shows leading up. So I was always posing and flexing and stuff. So I never tried. I think that's where people sometimes make a mistake, because everyone always talks about peak week, where to me, I believe for 16 weeks, from week 1 to week 16, I eat at the same time. I train twice a day. I did the cardio, the drugs I would use, and then swap them over towards the end. But it's like everyone does that. But then week 1 to 15, everyone does exactly the same thing. That last week, I'm going to change my carbs, stop the training, cut back on cardio, add a few different drugs. When your body's that sensitive and you're in a routine, when you do changes in a week, a small change can make something big. That's where I find a lot of this hocus pocus peak week stuff, a lot of it's hit and miss, because you can screw up a whole good diet just by trying these little experiments at the last week and screw it up. So the only thing I ever done before a show was put the tan on, slowly cut my water down. If I used a diuretic, I might be like a Diazide or something, but only take half maybe the Thursday night and see how I look. I knew guys would start taking a full one on Wednesday and 2 on Thursday, but I only ever went very small just to see how
Quarters,
it was.
yeah.
Go too late, you can't get it back. So I was never into that whole doing anything crazy the last week. If you look good, because how many times did we see back in the day, Dennis James and all these people a week or two out, you're like, he's going to win the Olympia. So many guys would put up these pictures 2 weeks out, then the day to show, you like, what happened? Like they that last week they do something, and sometimes, like I said, it's too iffy. So if you're looking good, I always tell people, just trust in the process. Don't change it, because we always think that, like Phil said, we always think, and as Ron said, maybe if I just do this, I'll get that little bit drier or I'll get a little bit fuller. And generally, you fuck it up. So if you're looking good, just don't touch it.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes both ways. If it's athlete dependent, if an athlete is smart enough, they know about nutrition and the kind of science behind it, they can pretty much coach themselves. But if it's a guy like Ronnie Coleman, for example, he really didn't know much of anything about bodybuilding. He just got pushed into it. Then when he finally teamed up with Chad Nichols, it took him to a whole nother level, and he fucking shocked the world and became an alien on the stage. He looked like a different human being. I don't know if Ronnie would have been able to do that if he just kind of did it on his own. So I think
Kevin told him to drink the vodka when he
the vodka
and
the coffee.
Just learning from people along the way, you're gonna learn stuff. So.
Yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps to have a coach sometimes, and if you're smart enough to do it on your own, if you have a coach for 1 year, you learn all the secrets and then do it on your own. That's kind of what I did. I just kind of learned from my coach and then just coached myself and was able to win shows that way without a coach. So I just think it's like you kind of, if you're some of these guys though, Lee, and you kind of allude to this, they hold everything in their coach's hands, like in and outside of the gym. Like, what should I eat today? What should I drive to the gym or should I walk to the gym today? Should I go to the grocery store or not? Like, it's everything.
Fluid, they keep calling, hold a bit of fluid. I'm a kilo heavier. That look good. I'm like, oh Jesus, just
come
down. And I agree. Some people do need them and that sort of thing, and some don't. But if you need one, I'm not against getting one. But it's like Phil said, you've got to be accountable a little bit. People these days, I think they're just given too much. If the coach says do this, okay, I'll do it. They don't quit. You're allowed to question. It's like anything. It's like having debates these days in anything or form of life. It's like you can't have a nice civil debate. It's like either this way or no way, whether it be politics or anything. It's like training methods. No, that's a stupid way. You got to train this way. Everyone's different. So if you need one, go for it. But also, like you said, Phil said, you got to have your own input there too. If you're not feeling a certain way, but your coach says do it, say, hey, I'm not feeling that. Can we try something else now? And some people never question their coach. So.
Yeah, I just don't know how Nick Walker and even Quinton, in the sense, if your body isn't looking right. You've done this many shows. You've been on the Olympia stage already, especially for Nick, to not know that something's not happening right with your body and to just continue to listen to your coach and go with the program just because you're like, I put everything into my coach. I do whatever he tells me to do. And that brings me into Chris Psycho Lewis and Chris DeCito with Andrew Jack. Andrew Jack says that openly. He's like, they're the conductor. I just go on the train for the ride. They tell me what to do. I don't care. I just do what they tell me. And then look what happens. He did what they told him to do, and they led him down the wrong path by trying to be bigger for the Olympia. When the judges said you need to come in 10% sharper, he didn't do that. And he listened to his coach, Chris DeCito. Now, Chris Aceto was on RX the other day saying, hey, I don't think there's a problem between me and Andrew Jacked. I don't know why Chris Lewis is kind of throwing me under the bus here, but, and then Andrew Jacked is going to work with him for the Arnold. But I wish Chris Aceto would take some accountability for, the game plan they did going into the Olympia by trying to come in bigger. He said he was over 300 pounds, right? When he was 288 in Texas. So why did you bring him up to 300 pounds for the Olympia when Tyler Mannion said you need to become sharper? So that's Chris Aceto leading Andrew into another 5th place position, in my opinion. I know Andrew should be responsible. Hey, coach, I don't think I should be getting bigger. I should just be sharpening it up. He didn't step in and fight for himself. And the coach can dictate your future sometimes.
Then what's the point of having a coach?
Well, Nick, Shaun, Quinton, come to Lee Priest. I'll get you all ready for next show.
Yeah.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, you somewhat need a coach, but I'm completely upon agreement with Matt. If the judges tell you you just need to come in a little bit sharper from the Texas Pro, I know for a fact if you listen, you get rewarded. You don't listen, you don't get rewarded. That's how it rolls. And it went a different direction. Like as soon as I saw Andrew, I was like, oh my God, man, he came in too big. He can't control his midsection, so forth and so on. I mean, Chris Aceto is basically saying he wanted to bring him in a little bit fuller and rounder. He's not saying he wanted to bring him in bigger, but that's whatever. I think they should have stuck to the game plan. Texas, him being smaller, well, not necessarily small because he's a big dude regardless, but him looking lean and a little bit less in weight, Andrew just looked more bigger on the stage because he looked insane. Stay on that track. Stay on that track and just come in a little tighter. Listen to the judges. Trust me, it would have went a different direction. So one thing, to a lot of IFBB pros, man, when the judges give you their feedback, it's up to you to listen or not listen, or it's up to you to say, listen, coach, this is what he said. I would like to go in this direction and do it this way. No disrespect. That's just what I want to do. Andrew, he's a great guy. He's a little shy. And I think that he puts a lot of confidence in the people around him, which is nothing wrong with that. But as an athlete, you still have to say to yourself, I have an opportunity to win this Olympia. I just came from the Texas, and I don't mean to disrespect any pros, but pretty much swept the Texas, right? And now big expectations are towards you to do very great at the Olympia. Roll with that. If your coach saying, well, I want to bring you in a little bigger, fuller, said, no, let's listen to what Tyler said. And let's come in this direction. And if it doesn't work, then we'll come up with another game plan next time. So you do need a coach, but you don't need to put 150% confidence completely. You have to speak. We are representing ourselves as well. They're representing their brand. The coach isn't. So when something goes wrong at the end of the day, the coach is not the one that's getting penalized, except for this case with what you call it. But the coach isn't getting penalized on that stage. We are. So just follow the instructions the judges give you. Bring that package. I think he's going to bring a pretty good package at Arnold. I truly do.
And it's like Phil says too. It's like some of these bigger guys are scared to lose some weight, and we've all been there. Where sometimes you might feel like you look small, you feel small, but being a little bit more ripped on stage, the illusion is you might lose an extra 5 pounds, and you think it like I'm small, but you look 15 pounds bigger on stage because the more defined you are, you get under the lights. The illusion of it all is what people forget.
Yeah, Lee, we didn't have you on the Olympia wrap up. You were on a train somewhere, you're getting a car or something, so I couldn't get you on. But what was your take on the Olympia? We didn't get your official kind of breakdown of, Samson. The more I see Samson, the more I'm like, okay, you know what? Actually, he is impressive. He did improve and do what the judges told him to do. So I guess it was enough. He crossed that red line that the judges say, hey.
I've always said the only one happy at contest is the guy that's won. Everyone else is going to be unhappy and the fans are going to be unhappy. But that's why I've always said, look, I know bodybuilding, you have to only have one winner. That's why I liked when I was racing, first one across the line wins. There's no opinions because to me, Samson looked fantastic. Yes, I think he looked like he should have won. But then I can look at Hardy and think, because he's a different body type, for his body type, I think Hardy could have won. So, when you get guys that are so close in little things where you're nitpicking different little things, he might be better in these poses, he's better in them poses. Like I said, if Hardy had a won, I wouldn't have been upset. that sort of thing either. So then I look at sometimes Brett and there again, I've some shot, no, Martin, I think, not Brett, Martin.
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's a thing I could have put Martin in third. So it's like, when it comes to bodybuilding, it's very subjective on different things. And when you got different body types, it'd be different if everyone was Samson, like Samson, Andrew and that. But when some are shorter, some are taller, some are more thicker, some are more symmetrical. And if they're all in shape, it's sort of just an opinion then on what the judges like that day. So, I think they're all great. That's why I always say, he's the best at that. And so, yeah, but I wasn't complaining about the placings. Like I said, it just is what it was.
Ron, you had Andrew Jacked on your show, which was amazing to get. Like, he doesn't do interviews. So what was your take on talking to Andrew and, where he's headed for the Arnold, his headspace?
I mean, we didn't get too in depth about, I didn't want to go with what went wrong. What'd you do wrong? And I tried to phrase it as what we do differently for next time. And he's going to continue work on his hamstrings, continue working on the condition. He did seem a little down, a little disappointed at the way the Olympia turned out. I honestly think if he had been sharper than the Texas, he could have been second place at that show.
Yeah.
It was that good. I also wonder, and I should have asked him that, if going into the show you thought maybe Samson's the guy to beat, maybe I need to be bigger and not worried so much about being conditioned, because Samson's never ultra conditioned, but he is big and full and has this great shape. So I don't know. I wonder if that was a strategy thing on the part of Chris Esteto. I doubt Chris would bring him in intentionally not in condition. Chris has been around forever. He knows how to get people in shape.
Do you think, Ron, it's like, remember back in the day, there's a few shows at Flex One or even Chris where they weren't at their best. They're a little bit smoother, but because of their shape and their balance, they won shows. And that day, I'm not 100%, but I still won. I remember when I got second to Flex in the Ironman, Shaun come over and he's like, "Oh, you're pushing my boy Flex today. You could have a chance of taking it." And Flex heard him, so Flex walks over and goes, "Yeah, Shaun's right, Lee. I'll admit you are in good shape, but because of who I am, I'm going to beat you." And then he walked off.
He was rarely the most conditioned guy on stage. I think the only time he was at 93 Arnold, where he was like 218.
He reckons that. Yeah, he reckons that. And I think that was one of his best looks too. But then, of course, Ronnie started getting bigger. Flex thought, I got to play the size game and get bigger. When he actually looked bigger when he was more shredded.
Yeah, I mean.
But if you say if you apply this shape thing over conditioning, then why didn't Flex beat Ronnie? Because he has better shape, so aesthetically pleasing than Ronnie. But Ronnie beat him because he had that conditioning. So we get confused. Which way do the judges want to go here? Like that's why I'm a stickler on conditioning, because that's what was winning the Olympias, was that guy that was the most shredded, who also had a good combination of shape. Maybe he wasn't the prettiest shape sometimes, but he was always usually the most shredded guy in the lineup. For the first time, a Mr. Olympia has been crowned who wasn't the most shredded guy in the top 3 or 4.
It's very dangerous to try to think a trend has been established based on one show, even a show as big and prestigious as the Olympia. We could see something completely different happen at the Arnold, where a totally conditioned guy beats out someone who's less conditioned, who maybe does have better shape. It's going to be a slightly different panel of judges. Every time someone wins a big show, people go, "Oh, this is what they want now." But rarely does that carry over show after show. It's not consistent like that. There's no cabal of judges meeting. All right, guys, Weinberger doesn't get them all together. Like, all right, listen, this time we're not going to go for conditioning. We're going to go for shape. But next week we're going to go. It's not like that.
I don't think.
I just got to run off and get the wife now.
Okay.
Keep on this subject because get back.
We'll try. We'll keep it on. Yeah. Well, because we want to hear your opinion on it too.
Yes,
you be 5 minutes or so.
Check for internal injuries.
All right. Okay. So I don't know. You guys probably saw this. Mike Van Wyck attacking Jeff Nippard. So I've had my run-in with Mike Van Wyck. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was about maybe 3-4 months ago when I had Fuad's former best friend on my show, and he was talking about Fuad's wife and how his wife attacks him and all this stuff, and which was true. But it is what it is. And then Mike didn't like that I had him on the show, and so he went on social media. He made a reel about me and said, "Matt, this fucking guy, bitch, Matt," like calling me all these things. I was like, okay, whatever. And then the video got taken down like less than 24 hours. They didn't even keep it up. And so I had my dealings with this guy. And then I had Joey Stacks on my show, who also had a run-in with Mike Van Wyck at the Olympia Expo in 2023. I think it was 2023. And it was big, that went viral on YouTube and stuff. And Mike was like confronting him and stuff. So Mike has this track record in the, I'm getting a call, in the industry of being this fucking kind of bully in a sense. And so let's see the video for everyone to just remind, like, when I see this, I'm like, why would you do that when there's a camera recording you? First off, that's the first thing. I'm like, there's a guy with a camera watching you. Why would you forcibly attack someone like this in front of the camera?
And then he attacked the cameraman right after that, correct?
Well, he attacked Jeff twice. We only saw the first time he attacked him. There's 2 attacks on him. And so let's hear what Antoine and Quinton have to say, because they train at that gym. They see Mike Van Wyck every day. They know his personality. They say he's not a. We're just I'm gonna let them speak for themselves here. 1 second. Yeah, right.
It looks like he's just on a bad cycle of trend.
Yeah, it's fuck.
That's pretty
man.
aggressive, man.
Like, can you imagine getting hit like that by someone? Like that's damn. Okay, let me share this tab here.
There we go.
Full screen. Okay, so this Antoine breaks it down pretty good, and so does Quinton, because they saw the whole thing with the video footage of it.
Spoken.
It's a couple minutes.
Probably would have messaged him like, "What the fuck were you thinking?" But I'm like, "Yo, you took it personal, like social media shit." Like, I don't know. He
doesn't look good on him. And the thing with Mike, he said I was because he messaged me earlier. He said I was defending my personal space. I saw the security footage. First, maybe I'll have to do another video on that. But first, he comes to Jeff, says something, walks away, and then Jeff does a set. Then he tells the camera, like, let's film this. So he walks towards Mike a little bit, but Mike right away walked towards him, and then Jeff actually has both of his hands behind his back, and then Mike shoved him on his throat, like a throat smash kind of thing.
Yeah, like a coward.
Yeah, flipped over the steel cable rope. And then after that, Mike still went at it. The thing is, if you're gonna hit somebody, it's because you feel your life is threatened, right? You feel you're in danger. But why would you walk towards that danger? And would that you feel like you're in danger with a guy who's like half your size with his hand behind his back, just wanted to talk? Because I'm sure Jeff was not looking for hurt him at all. He was probably just talk it out. Dude, you just said something to me, while I passing by, because people think Jeff started, but I saw in the footage that
People are fucking retarded, man. Like,
yeah, I saw that Mike actually said something to him, and then after that, Mike stopped during his client, walked and shoved him, and then after that, Mike went back and did a set with his client with a pull down. So imagine the client like doing the pull down. All right, I'll do another set, I guess.
Yeah. Listen, so I don't know. I've seen comments from some of Mike's like butt buddies, like his fanboys, that are saying apparently Jeff was yelling across the gym. Now,
Jeff never yelled.
So Jeff never yelled.
On the cameras, I don't know. I didn't see I didn't see from before it. I didn't see other areas. But that interaction, like from 30 seconds before that interaction, I saw that, and Mike initiated that. The only reason Jeff approached Mike in any capacity was because Mike said something to him, and then as he was walking away, Mike said something again while Jeff was doing a set. Then Jeff took a couple steps forward, but he still was not in Mike's personal space.
No.
Well, but also
unless your personal space is like 5 meters.
Yeah, there's several meters apart.
Yeah.
Several meters. Like,
yeah.
Listen, it's clear to me because of the messages we saw from Mike. He's just somebody that's like, I don't know if he's just delusional with how the experience happened, or he's just trying to lie his way out of it. Remember, he said he felt threatened. He didn't feel threatened. Jeff is half his size. He's not threatened. Even if a guy calls you a bitch every day at the top of his lungs, you still can't hit them. Like, no. you know the law. You've been alive for like 45 years or some shit.
Yeah, you could talk to the management and have it settled all the way. And if you feel threatened, why would you walk 3 times towards the threat?
Yeah, exactly. You threw 3 hits. You hit him once, hit him again. You kept following him. Then you hit the camera person.
Yeah, he showed the 19-year-old who didn't say one word.
Yep, just filming. And these fucking idiot supporters are like, "Oh, well, he poked the." It's like, no, he didn't. He didn't poke the bear. Mike started it with his stupid video mocking science-based lifters. Like, he started it. There was a response, which he responds to people's shit all the fucking time. Yeah, he gets into a lot of internet disputes, but Jeff was pleasant about his video. Was really well done. Like,
it was about himself. It was about himself. He actually said, "Also listen to big guy advice" at the end.
He did.
And the thing is, okay, Mike.
So yeah, they're just going about Mike now, but I think this is the end of my. So basically, what they also say is that the police get involved. Mike was asked to leave the gym. Right, so this isn't a joke. This isn't, not going. I think Jeff is gonna probably press charges. I don't see why he wouldn't press charges. When you get attacked twice by this maniac Mike Van Wyck in the gym, where you go to just have a good time and work out and do your shit. Now is he supposed to go back to that gym with Mike Van Wyck there? So obviously, I think Mike Van Wyck is not gonna be allowed back in that gym. I hope Dorian. Who owns that gym? He's the owner of HD Muscle and Elevate, the cream of rice company. I hope he doesn't allow him back in the gym, for one.
I think he cannot come. I think he's like suspended for right now, so he cannot come back to the gym.
Yeah, like I
just don't understand why he didn't get arrested. Because I mean, if that incident was to happen here, and cops was involved, because that is an assault. And plus it's being recorded. All the cops got to do is ask to look at the video. Yep. I'm shocked. I mean, he probably will end up but I'm shocked he did not get arrested right then and there. But I don't know the Canada rules over there.
It might be more lenient over here, probably is, but it's. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know. You're right. I don't know why he wouldn't have gotten arrested. That's assault, right? It's on camera. So I do think Mike should be charged. I think he should spend time behind bars. I'm not just saying that because he came at me. I just think this guy seems like a little bit deranged in the fact that you would attack someone in a gym or in public so freely, so easily.
Yeah. Well, I think the kid is in the hospital. I saw that.
Yeah.
So I think something may come out of this. I'm pretty sure it will. But at the end of the day, I mean, there was an incident. I think was it 2020? I wasn't. No, actually, I was there, but I didn't see it. They were showing an incident with Big Mike. Somebody actually asked him to step outside, and he was scared to do it. It's crazy that when somebody his size steps to him, it's a different story. I've had an occasion before, jokingly, like one day I was in the gym and this guy slams the bathroom door, and I mumbled underneath my voice. I was like, "Tear it up," and it was an older guy, a real older guy, and he got in my face. And I just looked at him, and everybody at the gym is watching me, and I was like, please, sir, just walk away, And he started pointing, and he was really like in my face. I just backed up, walked away, and went to the lunchroom. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just at a point where his size. Hell no, you weren't threatened. Look at the kid. He's what, 5'5"?
Yeah.
I mean, how could you say that's threat? You're not. You know what I mean? So when you know that it's just not worth the argument, you got to walk away. You got to be a bigger man and walk away from the situation.
What's your take on this, Ron? You're in the gym all the time. If someone did this to you,
well, it doesn't matter where it's a gym. It doesn't matter where this happens. This is assault. I don't think the laws are that drastically different in Canada versus USA when it comes to things like of this nature. That's assault. That's unprovoked. He was in no danger. He wasn't protecting himself. He wasn't defending himself. Again, this is a guy. What's Mike, like 6'2", 330 pounds?
Yeah,
I think he's taller than 6'2", because I'm 6 foot, and he's dramatically taller than me. It might be 6'3".
So let's give him 6'3", 340 pounds. Jeff's 5'5", 170 pounds or something.
Yeah.
This is disgusting to watch. He's definitely got charges could be filed. There's a lawsuit he could get moving if he really wanted to. It's over because he was upset about something he said to him. I could maybe justify it if If he said, your wife's a filthy whore or something, okay, then maybe you could justify a guy assaulting you or something. But what they have disputes about science-based training versus the way Mike likes to train. That's disgusting. I can't defend what he's done there at all. And if Jeff wants to pursue press charges, or if the prosecutor of all the evidence they need to see is right here. And the gym, I'm sure the security footage from the gym would back up the whole context of it. They could roll the whole hour long this was going. And Mike's going to look like the villain here.
Lee, people are asking, they want to hear your take on this situation. You missed the video I played of Antoine, but I think you kind of know Antoine.
I did see Antoine's, because Antoine said he saw some of the video.
Yeah.
It's like I was saying, I've heard there was words before that they were going back and forth, and Mike walked away. Then someone said that Jeff walked over again, and Mike said go away, and he walked off with his client. Then I think they started again across the gym, and which probably led to this. But I just hate if you're going to show. It's like the old things when we see things come up where someone gets attacked, we never see the whole context. So I want to see the whole thing. It'd be good if you had audio as well. But so much shit gets said online. I know they've been beefing about training styles and stuff online and stuff, but to me, it's like we don't know if they've been sending private messages back and forth that could be nasty to each other as well. So, no one should ever put their hands on anyone. But if you are going to talk shit and things get heated and you do get smacked, well, I've said a lot of shit online. If someone hit me, I'll probably go, oh, I deserve that. Yeah, so, okay. It's like, I could see it. I'm not going to go run to the police and go, oh, you fucking hit me, you hit me. So it's like, if you're going to talk shit to each other and you do get hit, well, that's it. That's like in the old days, you'd get into a fight, you'd go outside, and then when the fight was over, you generally shake their hand, go back in and buy them a drink. But these days, it's like, sometimes now it just seems like that video, whoever was video, it was video on it. So it's like, sometimes people do it to get reactions and film the reaction. And sadly, Mike was being filmed, and he should have been smart to go, hey, wait a minute, I better not do that reaction because it's going to be filmed. So, it's like those sort of reactions you do in an alleyway where it's just you and him, so no one gets to film it.
I mean, regardless if they had verbal dispute over social media, over text messages, whatever, the young man had his hands behind his back. That's a sign of submission, regardless if he's talking crap. He's physically saying, I'm no harm, and he places his hand behind his back. I'm just so against, I don't care. I had some verbal situations in my past. I never physically fought. It's just not my cup of tea. Somebody physically have to place their hands on me for me to do anything to them. But this situation here could have been avoided. I just think with the dispute online, with the gentleman speaking his truth of him being natural and stuff like that, I think that Mike, for some reason, tends to have issues with people on social media regardless. He just, this anger was not necessary. He was way too angry, and it should have never happened.
I also think too, this could be even just how many times, like I know I've had things happen to me, and you let it build up, and then someone just does something silly or says something and you snap. They're like, wow, you got angry over that. I was like, well, it wasn't just that. It was all this other shit that I've been building up. Yours was the straw that broke the camel back. So it could be a situation like that where Mike's having a bad day. Yes, it's no excuse to put your hands on someone, but it might have just been that straw that snapped him on that given day. We've all been there where someone can just do something small and you lose it, and you're like, oh, fuck, that was a bit overreaction, wasn't it? But there was all the other shit that led up to that point.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we can all agree. I mean, assaulting someone is not called for. It should have been handled differently. I think this is probably going to really fuck up Mike Van Wyck's career. Not career, but whatever he's doing at that gym and that whole thing. If he goes to jail. But then, okay, now you have Fuad, okay, who has Mike Van Wyck on his podcast every week or whatever. And let's hear what Fuad has to say about the situation. I'll need it.
Cancel culture and how bad it is. And then once something they don't agree with happens, they quickly jump to cancellation. Anybody out there who's messaging me because they think I'm going to kick Mike off the podcast because of whatever happened between him and Jeff, please don't message me anymore. Please don't comment to me anymore about it. Mike will be on the podcast as long as he wants to be. Mike will be my friend forever. And anybody who ditches a friend because something bad happened to them or they're in some type of turmoil is a fucking asshole, and that's not who I am. So whatever Mike is dealing with,
Oh, okay.
I'm there to support him.
Okay, they said, can you guys hear it?
Yeah, I heard. It was
Well,
low,
the
but I
people,
heard it.
Love,
the people.
yeah.
Okay, the people are saying they can't hear. So let me just change this. Do it that way. Okay, sorry guys, let's just do it.
I love how people complain about cancel culture and how
Sorry,
bad it is. And then once something they don't agree with happens, they quickly jump to cancellation. Anybody out there who's messaging me because they think I'm going to kick Mike off the podcast because of whatever happened between him and Jeff, please don't message me anymore. Please don't comment to me anymore about it. Mike will be on the podcast as long as he wants to be. Mike will be my friend forever. And anybody who ditches a friend because something bad happened to them or they're in some type of turmoil is a fucking asshole. And that's not who I am. So whatever Mike is dealing with, I'm there to support him and help him deal with it. Whether he's right or wrong doesn't matter to me. He's still going to be my friend, and he's still going to be on the podcast as my friend whenever he feels like it. So that's just my statement, and whoever doesn't agree with it, too bad. I love it.
All right.
Well, I don't agree with it.
I don't agree. I like.
Someone's saying Fuad's a low life, but yeah, okay. What Mike does isn't on Fuad because shit. A lot of my friends I know they sell fucking narcotics. I've got friends that sell steroids. I've got friends that have beaten people. If I defriended every one of my mates that done something that broke the law, I wouldn't have any mates. So.
Well, you don't have to.
Oh,
I'm not
me.
saying he needs to cancel his friendship. See,
Yeah.
my morals are different. I was just raised differently. If I have a very good friend, and I if I have a best friend, you're really my best friend. It's a do or die situation. I'm going to have your back, but I am going to confront you about it. I'm going to let you understand that it was not right. So you could bring him on the podcast. Nobody's saying take him off of there. But you still have to confront the situation. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. Nobody's saying he should be friends with anybody. I've done that. If I have a friend that steps out of character in front of me, or if I heard about it, I'm going to call him and address it and try to find out what you believe you could have done differently. Was it really necessary to push it this far? So it's just letting him understand as a friend, if you're truly his friend, to acknowledge a situation and just understand that, there may be consequences from this. So that's all. You don't have to end a friendship regardless, but you just have to shed light on the situation. You can't sit here and make a video like it's okay. Listen, he's my friend until the day I die, and it's okay. I'm okay with what he did. So please don't email me. No, that's basically letting me know you're just as selfish as he is.
Yeah, that's why I played that video, because sure, okay, you don't have to not be friends with him, but if you have an employee, basically, because I think he's not his employee, but he comes on his show as like he's a regular, you have to reprimand that employee. You have to you can't, there's certain standards you need to abide by. And if you're going to be cool with your employee just assaulting people in gyms, yet still have them on the podcast and give them that platform to speak their mind and everything, I think you got to have some accountability for that. You have to say, what Mike Van Wyck, my best friend, did was assault someone. That's wrong. I don't stand for that. And take accountability for your friend, since you have a platform and he's on your platform, rather than just ignoring it and be like, I'm going to be Mike's friend till the end. He's forever. It just shows who Fuad is. The fact that he won't take accountability and say that was wrong. I don't know if he's dealing with some things, but whatever he did, he shouldn't have done that. Just say that. But Fuad can't even say that. He just fucking lets it go.
Real friends call each other out on their bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it comes down to. They need to address it. I agree. He's still going to be his friend, but say, dude, what were you thinking? You have 150 pounds on this guy. You shoved him in the throat with a camera on you, and the way Fuad said something that happened to him, this didn't happen to Mike. Mike did that of his own free will. He didn't have to shove this little guy in the throat and send him flying across the gym. That was ridiculous.
What's your take on it, Lee? With Fuad, does he have to do anything, or who gives a fuck? Is that
Well, the thing is, how do we know he hasn't? He could have spoke to Mike privately. That's we all expect everything to play out in the social media today. We need Fuad to give us every update. So who knows? You might have spoke to Mike and said, "Hey, what you did wasn't good.
Yeah.
It wasn't company. It wasn't whatever. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So
Well, that's true too, but he still should then he shouldn't have made the video to address what everybody else is saying. He should have left it alone. So basically, if it's a possibility he did speak to Mike, don't take offense to people calling them, emailing them, whatever they're doing, DM them or whatever, then he should ignore that. Then don't make a video basically showing that you're okay with what he did, because it doesn't, for him as a businessman, now we got to look at things now in a different limelight when it comes to Fuad. You are a businessman. And you know, you have some very elite athletes, two of them that's now, you know, working for you. You know what I mean? And you're selling supplements. There's a certain face we have to live up to as a businessman. What he does in a personal business is different. So I would have just not made a video at all. Not address it at all. That's what I would.
Somebody asked me if one of my friends abused animals, would I be their friend? No, because animals are more helpless.
They can't they can't defend.
That's why I'm not happy with young LA that's taken Daddy Aioli back, who abused the cat and stuff. So see, like animal abuse like that, the innocent animals, to me, I find, I can see a human get killed, I'm like, idiot. But if I see someone abuse an animal, I'm like, animal's small. It's like a child, you know, it's like defenseless. But grown men, I'm like, play silly games, act stupid. You're going to get stupid prizes no matter who's right or wrong. Shit happens when you see adults get together. So,
yeah, I just think like he's a business owner, supplement company. He's in the IFBB, yet he's kind of condoning it by not condemning it, by allowing you to have him on like so freely to say, "Yeah, I don't care. He's coming on my show. I don't care what he." It's basically saying, "I don't care what Mike did. He's still coming on my show, guys. I don't care."
I've seen a few comments where people have said how he went after Jeff like that. Then why didn't he do that to that guy? What's his name that goes around to weigh him and measure him?
Kenny KO.
No, not Kenny. The other guy.
Oh no, yeah, you're right.
Oh,
he talks Russian.
With the scale. What's his name?
He went at the mic and Mike smashed the scale. At
Eric or something. Yeah.
Yeah, Eric. Yeah. Because remember, they were in each other's face, Mike and Mike's friend was telling him, "I'm going to kill you," and that. You're thinking, if you're going to attack someone, that would have been the person you would have attacked, being that close.
Wow.
Yeah, I just think I don't know. It is what it is with this whole Jeff versus Mike Van Wyck and Fuad.
All we need to do is tell Nick Walker, talk to Mike, because Mike has the real trend. That's not fake. Whatever Mike using, he's got the real gear. Nick Walker and everyone, go talk to Mike. He's got the real shit.
Can you address that for 1 second? The whole issue of Nick Walker couldn't get legit drugs.
I know.
No, I don't believe that.
I mean, at that level, I mean, everyone I know at that level has had proper connections for as long as they needed to, and that should never be an issue.
You see, he looks fine. His skin is thin. You could see the striations in his hamstrings and shit. It's like, was it like, what happened? What really happened?
But it's like, I want to know, like, whether it was a medical, okay, the fake drugs I don't agree with. But when we saw Nick and they said, you know, we discussed this week, we all know someone a week out. Nick looked more than a week out in that video. Like, he looked like me almost when I'm bulked up. His face was puffy, his stomach was bloated. Nothing against Nick, but that wasn't a week out decision where you're not going to do the show.
No, like you can see. No. They admitted that they made that decision like well before the 7-day announcement. Yeah.
He looked like eating out of control for a couple weeks at that point. Mm-hmm. Wasn't he up to 280? Didn't he say he was 280?
I don't remember him saying.
I don't remember, but I know for a fact that was not the thing. I think people are blown out of context. I don't think. I mean, I wasn't there, but I don't think his coach said that to him. I think it's more to the story. And somebody even stated the IFBB knows the true story because they had to reach out to them prior to making this video. And I don't think it's the same story was displayed to us, was told to Mr. Menyon and Dan Solomon. So the facts was probably given to them, and that could be a possibility why he was not fined, even though I do believe that there should always be some type of penalty, even if it's not money. Let's say, okay, you sign a contract for shows big as the Olympia, and you decide you're not going to do it, which is okay. And I saw this. I was watching a podcast with Boston. Actually, it wasn't Fuad was on there, but Boston. The coach Boston. What's his name?
Boston.
No, not
Boston
Boston.
Lloyd, the
No.
coach for Martin.
Oh, Stefan, Boston.
Stefan, yes. And Stefan said on there, he said, I had a situation with a gentleman, he said the name I don't remember, where we had to tap out of the Olympia. He said, I had this
This was
gentleman
my
ready,
bread and butter.
and it was just, I just saw his body wasn't responding. I did everything I can do to not jeopardize his health. He said, because, some of these coaches will start coming with the DMP and all these craziness to try to fix people at the last couple of weeks. He said, I just noticed this person, he sticks to his diet. He does everything he's supposed to. It was just not working. So he basically, said, hey, listen, you have to tap out of the show. So he was in a situation similar to this. And that's why he's saying, like, we can't just, it's both sides. It's the athlete and the coach.
Yeah.
Even though Jansen took over that video, which I think he should have never did, because it made it look like it just didn't make him look good. I think that Nick should have spoke, but then he said that we're in a good place. We're basically we're not separating. We're good. There's a lot of
and now
misconceptions
look
in
where
that video, but at the end of the day, man, he pulled out for whatever reason. I know everybody's upset. We don't know the true facts. Like I said, I think the IFBB knows the true facts. I think if he does this again, 3 strikes, you're out. I don't think it's going to be a bounce back after that. But at the end of the day, something was not right. And I know it's not no fake drugs. People are, that's BS. It's not that.
It's like Phil says, take it from someone, and Ron can tell you, I'm an expert when it comes to suspensions and fines with the IFBB back in the day. Yeah. And I agree. Sometimes your body doesn't respond, but I always found if I was doing like 4 or 5 shows, sometimes that 5th show or the 4th show, no matter how much extra cardio I did or took some extra wind stroll, whatever, sometimes your body just says like, hey, I've had enough and you can do more cardio. You're not getting any leaner. It's almost like your body's saying, knock it off. But that's why I found that excuse weird when it's the only show or second show we did that year. He should have been still fresh. But you think it would have to be a medical reason, because unless it's medical, you do get fined and suspended. I remember when I did the Ironman, San Fran and the Arnold, and I was signed on to do the Houston show. And I would have been 22 or 23. And I went to see Joe Weider and said, hey, I've qualified for the Olympia. I'll be one of the youngest to do it. Can I skip the Houston show? And Joe Weider's like, that's a good idea, Lee. Don't do it. So I didn't do it. Wayne calls me up. Why weren't you there? I said, Joe said I didn't have to do it. I run these shows, not fucking Joe. You're suspended for a year.
For a year or two, Jesus. Like, that's your...
$5,000 fine.
Wasn't there one show, Lee, where you weren't in shape, but your sponsor at the time forced you to do it, and you ended up going on stage anyway? And
that was like 2003, where I had the long hair at the Olympia.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to do it because, like, if you're not 100%, you can't be. I'm going to do it 1 week. No, I'm not the next week. You got to be focused 100%. And I was going. I don't really want to. Yes, I will. Then I'll eat McDonald's and I go back on the diet. So I think I went on bodybuilding.com and get big and said to my fans, listen, my mind's not in it. I'm not going to go on stage. I'm not going to be at my best. I'll beat the expo, and then all the hate. How can you do this? How can you pull out? We've got tickets to come see you. Blah. I was like, oh, fuck it. So I said to Kathy at the time, okay, I'll do it. So even though I wasn't 100%, I still did it, done the show, got a shit placing, and then online the next day, how the fuck can you go on stage like that and embarrass us, your fans? I'm like, what? It's like, I can't win.
Man. Yeah, I get it.
I'm not doing it. Then when I did it, they hated me even more.
Yeah.
You let us down looking like that. I said, well, I told you I wasn't going to be in shape, but I still did it. But
I want to talk a little bit about Shaun Clarida, because this is a big deal, because Shaun and Matt were like ride or die together. So was Matt and Nick. But I mean, Shaun, this guy's quiet. He doesn't really talk much. And for him to announce that he's leaving today is a big deal. And just look at the quads. They're gone.
They're gone.
Like
we're twice that size last year.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that Matt Jansen was like, okay, this is the strategy. And obviously Shaun's going to dig down and just do the work. But at some point, maybe Shaun has to have some responsibility. Be like, dude, I'm coming down way too stringy here. I'm just like, this ain't right. Like, what do you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's, Matt Jansen, like I said, I don't know him, never met him. I just saw him. I saw him at the Olympia when I was in there, and I think I saw him at another show that I've done. You can't listen. These athletes see themselves weeks out. They
Yeah.
know that they're down. Look at the pictures from last year, Coach. This is not what Tyler was telling us to do. You got way too much time to fix this problem instead of coming to the show that way.
Yeah.
Justin this is the worst this is the worst year. He had a bad year. You know what I mean? Look at all the other years, it wasn't an issue. Nobody was saying nothing then. You know, he had a bad year. Probably he has a lot. You know,
He's got a
I'm
lot
trying to
going
play
on now. He's not.
devil
Yeah.
advocate. I'm trying to do that to give the man some. I don't want the credibility being completely destroyed. I just don't see that. I think that he has so much going on, and probably as a coach, he should have say, "Listen, guys, you know, I can't coach anymore." But somebody, Brett said
Yeah.
that I think people are thinking that these guys are on laugh, and I hope that I hope he comes and makes a video to defend himself. I think he's just done with coaching. I think that he spoke to these individuals on the phone. Now, Quinton now had nothing. I can't speak on that, and probably he just said, "Hey, listen, I effed up. I'm just not going to coach anymore. My mind isn't in it. I'm just this is in fact." And they all just decide, okay, well, we're going to go, So people can't just think that they all just left. We don't really know exactly what happened. But Brent did say, you may not see him coach anymore. But yes, we decided to part ways, but you may not see him. And he made a video to say that he's no longer coaching. So we just got to wait for that to get the insight.
Yeah.
Until Giant Killer says something, until Nick's voices his opinion, they're just saying, listen, we're not with Jansen anymore. But we don't know if it was a mutual conversation between all three that, hey, listen, I lost my touch. I'm just not going to be able to do it. I failed you guys. We don't know. We just don't know. We're speculating.
Phil, stop talking sense. Let us speculate more. It's more fun. Isn't Matt into cycling? Maybe.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
He got Shaun and Nick and all them to get everyone to form a Tour de France team, and they lost their size cycling too much. So.
Well, you made a good point. Like, Phil, I think he's just focused on his company, Raw, right, which is making millions and millions of dollars a year, and then he's got this cycling thing that he's obsessed with now, and he's like, that's like he's not focused on these guys. So I do kind of blame Matt Jansen here in the sense that you have these huge athletes, Shaun, Clarida, Nick Walker, even Quinton had the potential to do well this year, and you drop the ball with all of them. Because you're not focused. Obviously, you're not focused like you were before. When you were focused and you didn't have this huge company for the most part, and you weren't doing the cycling thing.
Yeah,
they did great. You've won shows with these guys. You won the Olympias with Clarida. So it just seems like
they should have said something though, because like they know their coach. They know if he's not on. For example, I had a heart-to-heart conversation with Blue at one point because Blue has so many more clients now than when he first took me on, so many, and it's different time zones. And one time I had to have a heart-to-heart with him, and I said, "Listen, you're not attentive as you were before." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't see that." And I'm giving him examples. As an athlete, this is what we're supposed to do because I got a very close bond with Blue. So out of respect, like they had with Jansen, just say, "Hey, listen, coach. You're not firing on all cylinders. You know what I mean? Don't just go through the whole thing and then show up to the Olympia like that. You got to let him understand. You know how he is when he's firing on all cylinders, and you know when he's not. They have to speak up. Just speak up, and sometimes they need that direction. So I was happy when I did that with Blue because he respected it. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, listen, we all represent ourselves as pro bodybuilders. We're independent contractors. Let's stand up for ourselves and don't fully just put everything on coaches. You know what I mean? I had one or two bad ones, and I never got on a video and displayed my business. I just think he's falling. I just decided to just go my way. I never made a video, even when I had a really bad experience with one. I think Brown already said his name earlier. But I never made a video about it. I just didn't. I just out of respect for myself, I don't need to discredit no one. Let other people find out on their own, and I don't need to do that. But Quinton, on the other hand, he was very hurt, and I understand it. But if you listen to what's his name? He just did this video that he did. Anton was telling that when Quinton first told him he was going to go with Matt Jansen, they all questioned it. But then again, they just allowed him to do it. I personally called Quinton. And I was like, just want to make sure that this was the right decision. And he just said he wanted to try something different, you know. So we still got to hold ourselves accountable. Hey, I had a coach that's been with me from day one, which was Dorian. And I think Dorian did an exceptional job with Quinn. Exceptional job. He was always in the top call-outs. But sometimes we get caught up. I know Quinton admires Samson Dowda, and it's very respectful, but we can't try to chase things too fast by getting a coach that you believe is going to get you there faster. It just never works out. You know, Quinton's a taller guy. Matt Jansen coaches a lot of shorter guys. So sometimes you got to really look at a lot of different things. You know what I mean? Height do play a different. He worked with him for the first time. So, you know, he didn't, you know, there's a lot of variables you could look at it, you know, and Quinton's rightfully to be upset. Yes, he is. And he's obviously very angry. But at the end of the day, bodybuilding is a learning lesson. Just like, you know, Lee Priest would say, you know, they coach yourselves, and sometimes it's a hit or miss. You just learn from it, document it, and try to do better.
And the thing is, too, whatever, and you will all know, too, you can come in looking your best one year and you think you nailed it. You do that exact same thing the next year. You don't look the same. You always got to make little changes, little adjustments. People go, why, look at, he looked great this time. Why couldn't he just do that again? Your body's always changing. It'd be great if you could just find that one diet that you could use every show and come in shredded every time, but you're always making adjustments with foods and training or even cardio. And even, like I said, it could be, I wouldn't say it's not real gear, but the strength of some gear can be up and down. You could get a SUS 250, it might only be 125. We don't know unless we got those testing kits and stuff. So you could be getting something that's tested. It could be Deca, you know, you're like, who knows?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think Quinton said that Matt Jansen blamed it on fake gear to Quinton. And that's an excuse that Matt Jansen has used for like a whole bunch of other people too. So, I mean, that's
like Ron said, when you're at that level, you've got people generally, I remember being in gold, so people have fallen over backwards to give pros growth hormone for free just to hang out with them and be seen with them and shit like that. These guys were getting some of the best stuff for free just because people wanted to be in their circle. It's like we see with movie actors when they get hooked on drugs, they got all these people around them. What do you want? I'll give you this. They're getting all these recreational drugs just given to them because of who they are type thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Ron, what's any last thoughts on that?
As far as Matt, I mean, I wish him the best, and I think he probably will step away from coaching. I think he's a workaholic. He's probably a perfectionist, an overachiever. He thought he could do it all. He thought he could keep it all together, run this huge supplement company, take care of his wife and kids, spend time with them, the cycling, getting ready for, I don't know, marathons, whatever he's getting ready for. He thought he could handle it all and still be a great coach, but I think it seems like it's clear that he can't really juggle all these balls at once, and coaching's probably the one thing he's going to have to let go. And I don't think it's going to impact his life. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that's fine. He's obviously he's a part owner of Raw, so I think he's going to be just fine.
Is Nick sponsored by Raw, or is he not with Raw?
I think he's part owner of Raw.
Yeah.
Who, Nick?
Matt Jansen.
Yes.
What about Nick Walker? Is Nick still sponsored with Raw? Or?
Now he is.
He is because I know he just signed with the equipment company with Dorian. Because normally when he leaves Matt Jansen, I don't know. Last time he didn't stay with Raw.
That's the crazy thing. So Nick left Matt Jansen, even though they just signed him with Raw. So it's kind of this weird,
I don't know,
relationship they have now, because that was probably part of like not the deal, but it's like, you know, he's my coach and I'm with Raw and we're just gonna be all together now. Now they've split again, and so Nick just signed with Raw, so I don't think he's going to go nowhere. But it's just like awkward. He's going to have to find a new coach, and that's the thing is, where does Nick go for a new coach? Who's going to take Nick under the belt? I know Chris DeCito said, I don't think I want to take Nick. Lee Priest will take Nick.
Just they call me at weird hours at night complaining you're smooth. I'll be like, go to bed, shut up, goodbye. I tried coaching once, and I don't nothing against women, but women for some reason are always the worst. I put on a kilo. I've lost this. I put this. Oh, Jesus, just relax. It's like, you know, always looking in the mirror. I've just put on another half a pound. It's okay. Your body's going to fluctuate. Don't get obsessed by the scale, you know. I watch even women go into the gym now, and the first thing they do, they step on the scale. I'm thinking, oh, you shouldn't have done it. Because I see them. Sometimes they look down, they go train. Sometimes they look down, they go. And as soon as they walk away, they're all depressed. And then I'm thinking, you shouldn't have done that. Just don't get on the scale.
Yeah, and I was going to say one thing about Derek Lunsford. I saw him when he was in his hotel room eating, and he was just sweating profusely. So I don't know if he was taking DNP, but that's usually a telltale sign when you're
When
sweating.
after prejudging?
No, before, like leading into like the Thursday, and he was
Yeah,
just
no, I don't. I would.
fucking.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's that because you could be still holding on to water,
Yeah,
substitute water. I've sweat before, and
yeah,
that's what I used to run that by Blue. I did not do it for the Chicago though, but I've been like in the check-in room and just start sweating. I'm like eating my
yeah.
rice and just start sweating. You're still holding on to water, and your body's just pushing it out. I don't think he'll goes to that level. I know that this is still. I did see him. I was at Tim Garner's Hurricane Pro this weekend. It was a lot of top of the. I think the guy that took second for Classic Physique, he was there. It was a lot of top level pros there, and Derek came and it was sitting more to the farther right. Normally, we all had our name for the pros at our chairs because we were like, I was sitting right behind Steve. But you could see it's still. I just told him to stand strong. It's still affecting him. Tim Garner was talking to him for a little bit. Steve spent some time with him. I think they actually went out to eat. He's going to bounce back, man. He just got to stay confident in himself, continue pushing, concentrate right now on his family and his daughter, and just, refocus and come back. There's no set in stone that the direction they're going is for the taller bodybuilders. I'm 6 foot, you know what I mean? And I'm supposed to ride with the taller bodybuilders, but there's nothing saying that is the direction they're going in. So, Derek, don't get frustrated. Hottie, don't get frustrated. Just make the improvements you need to make. The judges gave you the improvements to do, and just do it. Let's make this next Olympia something freaking spectacular,
And what Derek needs to realize is too, that weekend there was hurricanes going on in Florida. There was wars going on, and that, and God just wasn't in his corner 100% this weekend because God had a lot of shit going on to worry about Derek's conditioning. Okay, so that's all I got to say because he thanks God. That
What do you
weekend,
guys? Okay.
God had a lot on his plate that weekend. Okay.
What do you guys think? Does Derek push that too hard in his videos? Is it too much? Is it fine? Do you think that's?
Well, me being, of course, you guys all know I am, we're Christians, and
Yeah.
I respect, if you want to look at it, him pushing it. I mean, he was the same individual last year.
Mm-hmm.
What I can't really speak on what I actually believe in my heart. He don't need to change who he is because honestly, if people that believes in Allah, if they decide to say something, nobody's going to say anything about it.
Right.
I think that we need just to respect everybody's faith. You know what I mean? And if they want to use their platform to speak about it, I think they have the right to do it. I never believe it's too much because I do it on all aspects. If it's bodybuilding, personal training, or whatever. Now, I don't just force feed anybody anything. But, I do have people talk to me about their problems, and sometimes I got to give them an example of my life. So do I think that he's pushing it a lot? My personal opinion, I do not believe he's doing that. I just believe that this is what he firmly believes in. Tim Gardner's a big faith guy, too. He may not say it, at his shows, but there's a lot of us that are believers. So, no, I don't think he's saying it too much or pushing it too much. He has fans that are. And I don't think a lot of people have problems with it. Some people do because they have different beliefs, and that's okay. Yeah. But him as a professional, I think he's 100% okay to say, like I said, we have a lot of people, different religions. They push, what they believe their faith is, and I respect everybody's religion. If they want to speak about it, they fully have the right to do it. So, no, I don't think he pushes it too much.
And I think, too, like I said, I'm not super religious. I believe there's something greater than us out there because if we're it, we're doomed. But so like when he starts going on, but I just sometimes turn off. I don't get mad. Like you said, some people get mad. Oh, he's pushing the God thing again. I'm like, if that's what he believes, that's what he believes. Why does it upset you? Just let him go. It's like it's not affecting your life. We all have different beliefs, whether it be in anything. So I'm amazed that people get so mad about it. That's why I just sometimes joke and go, God was busy that weekend. He had a lot on his plate. That's why he was a little bit off. So people go, why are you making fun of his religion? I'm like, I'm not making fun of his religion. I'm just having a joke, for God's sake. Come on.
No, you're not.
Well, now
Lee, people got to get to know you because I saw you had a podcast. I think you and I don't know who the guy that was he was Italian kid.
Jimmy.
Yeah. So my thing is Lee. Some people may take offense to what Lee says, but if you know Lee's a character. You know what I mean? So he's gonna,
right there.
Stop that.
Oh, God.
When I was in the Catholic Church, I was getting communion. He'd give me that wine. He's like, here's the blood of Christ. And he's like, open your mouth. Goes, you give me that wave. He goes, the body of Christ. I'm like, that's your cock. That's not the body of Christ. I know the difference. Now the Catholics are going, okay, I love you all, people. I love you all.
Yeah.
Ron, what's your take? Yeah.
I just want to say one thing. It seems like America in particular has become an atheistic country. There's a lot of people who have no religious belief, no faith, and it upsets me to see how they mock and belittle and insult people that do have faith and religious beliefs and convictions. It's, respect other people's beliefs. You don't have to tear them down and laugh at them for it. I mean, it's crazy. 100 years ago, if you didn't, or 200 years ago, whatever, if you didn't go to church and have, profess your faith, you were a pariah, you were an outcast. And now it's almost tipped the other way, where the people that go to church and profess their belief in Jesus Christ or whatever, they're like laughed at and labeled. They're the outcasts in a lot of respects.
Exactly. It's like, and who's it hurting? If it makes someone feel better, have belief in God, and who's it hurting? If it makes them happy and makes them feel good, why does it bother somebody? That's what I don't get. Why is it bothering you if that's what they believe in? But it's like even Phil said, nothing against the Muslim faith and all that, but no one dares. Like I said, lately now with all the Trump stuff and going on that, like I said, in America, they come down on the Christian thing so bad. You'd never see that happen to some certain faiths. They'd never do the same. There's different faiths. Otherwise, they'd be like, hey.
I'm just going to give the shout out for the super chat from Australia, I guess. Steve Shaw's channel says Jeff Nippard was assaulted more after that short video through other witnesses. Yeah, I think we figured that. Yeah, so that's crazy. So we'll see what happens with Mike Van Wyck. Charges are pressed. We'll see. I'm sure we'll find out right away when that comes out. One last thing about Hadi Choopan and the question. I forget who asked him the question about Iran, or was about, I don't know if it was about Palestine or what.
Yeah, that was wrong.
What was the question? What was the full question again? Was it like his thoughts on it, or like that he's over here during that time, or?
I think I can't remember. It's something to that aspect, but how he handled it right with his response. I forgot who was asking that question, but I think it was rude. I think it was a little rude and arrogant. But how did he respond to it very well?
You get crazy stuff like that, because last December I went to Russia, big bodybuilding show. They had like 700 competitors. Did a couple of seminars. The amount of hate I got. I can't believe you support Putin. You're going to Russia. I'm like, I'm going for bodybuilding. I'm not going for the support the war. I'm not going to drive tanks into Ukraine, but I'm going to unfollow you. You're an asshole. I'm like, and then somebody goes, well, Lee, you might not be there supporting them, but just say some of the Russian soldiers come to your seminar, and by you being there, that motivates them to go kill more Ukrainians. I'm like, that's a big bow to draw there somehow. I'm like, how the fuck do you come to that conclusion by me being
there? It's bodybuilding, Lee. Yeah, it's bodybuilding. Wherever we choose to go. And I think the question was not 100%. How could he be here competing when they're having, the war or whatever going on? I think that was somewhat the question, and he didn't answer it. This is bodybuilding. Yeah. We don't really get caught up in the politics. We had this discussion before. I had it on another channel. We're bodybuilders, man. We eat, train, sleep. We don't get caught up. We're like outcasts anyway. We're different from the world,
I know. That's why I don't get when, like I said, they were saying all that. I'm like, I'm just going for bodybuilding. I'm not going there. I'm not in it. Then even I put up a thing the other day. It was like something about someone abused an animal. Well, what about the Palestinian children? I'm like,
oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Well, there's so many different things happening in the world. Like we can't. It's like.
I'm sorry. Just let me know what next week's cause is, so I know what fucking flag to put up or what I'm doing. I don't want to be out of sync with the algorithms. Let me know what I'm doing. It's like crazy.
Well, a lot of people say politics plays a part with Hadi not, winning, or that he can't speak English. He doesn't try to learn English, and then the judges are done with.
So how did he win 2 years ago? How did Big Romney win? Oh, they don't like Middle Eastern. They don't like Muslims. We had 3 years in a row of Muslim Mr. Olympias. We hate Muslims. If we're so anti,
that's true.
In the Middle East, how did those guys? We had a champions out of those places for 3 years in a row.
When people got mad at me because I made a joke, I said, "Listen, if Hadi doesn't win the Olympia this year, and you see one of these sitting on an empty seat, run." Just saying.
Oh,
and people used to say, Lee, you're a racist. I'm like, I was married to a South African that was Muslim, so calm down, people. If you're going to call me something, at least know my history.
Wait, I got the best lead. Lee, do you remember this from your column? He said, this is the great racism quote. He said, I'm not a racist. I hate everybody.
Equally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, to me, it's like, look, we're all, well, when I first come to America, I never really understood the whole thing, because to me, I judge someone on their character. I don't care what color someone is, what race you are, what religion you follow. If you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. And when I first went into the post office in America, I had all those boxes to tick Hispanic, blah, 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 mate. So I just drew a box down the bottom. I put human and I ticked it and handed it to her, which is like, I said, what? Said, we're all part of the human race. Why we got to be put in fucking boxes everywhere? So I told everyone, just do a box, write human, and hand it in. Like, stop trying to put people in categories.
Hey, listen, I had a real quick. I had an issue one time in the gym. It was a guy. He wanted to use a tanning bed, and tanning bed only could be used when the gym is open, and it wasn't open. So I was trying to explain to him, and I think I was dieting too. I was like 2 weeks out, and he's giving me tons of crap, and I'm like, sir, just leave, please, just leave. He walks out the door, because everybody in the gym always watches me when there's a competition. They're waiting for me to get crazy, but I would never do it. And he walks out. He said, "You precious motherfucker," right? And everybody said, "Did you know your wife is white?" I said, "I guess I'm prejudiced. I mean, I don't know."
There you go.
I get all the time. I get hate because I had a cousin that was a transsexual. My father's gay. He's been with his partner for 40 years, and I'll make gay jokes. Oh, you're homophobic. I'm like, I see my father a lot, and I love my father. When, his sexuality, I'd make jokes with my father saying, talking about fate and, things happen for a reason. My dad was gay. I think my mum met him in church, so they thought they could straighten him out in church. So for those 4 years they got together, had my sister and had me, and I made a joke once he got mad. I said, "Dad, if you didn't meet Mum when you did, I could have been wasted on a fucking blowjob or up some guy's asshole." There wouldn't have been no priest. I would have been spat out on the floor. I would have been like, "I'm glad you met Mum when you did, because I'm here." He's like, "That's not funny." I said, "I think it is."
On that note,
all right, we'll wrap it there.
Demonetized.
Probably.
I'm a big believer in fate and things happening at the right time.
Oh, man, it's good. Awesome. Great. Thank you guys, man. I try to keep it in an hour. It's an hour and 17, so not too bad. And we'll have to do it again, man. It's just fun. And, we'll do it again. Thank you guys for coming on.
Yes, sir. All right, guys.
Hey, guys.
All right,
All right. We'll catch you in the next one.